I was hoping you disappeared.
Is our father truly dead?
Yes. And they're going to make you king.
I have no wish to rule, no taste for duty. I'm not suited.
You'll get no argument from me.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago I did a spotlight video on Daemon, so now it's time to focus on a character who is somewhat his counterpart for the Greens, Aemond Targaryen. As I did with Daemon, I'm going to look at his portrayal on House of the Dragon, how that compares to what was written in Fire and Blood, and some of the expectations for him in Season 2. And of course, if we're talking about Aemond, it means that in this video, Vhagar will loom large, both literally and figuratively. Now, like Daemon, Aemond is one of the more compelling characters in House of the Dragon because he's complex. But what's different about this role is that we had two actors that took on the part, Leo Ashton and then Ewan Mitchell. And of all the shifts on the show, from the younger versions to the older ones, I feel that the most seamless transition was for Aemond. The younger Aemond is a bit of an outcast. He's the one Targaryen youth who was unable to claim a dragon, and it becomes a running joke. It even manages to bring Aegon, Lucerys, and Jace together, leading to the humiliating Pink Dread prank. This incident prompts Aemond to unsuccessfully approach Dreamfire. That scene showed that while Aemond might not quite fit in, he doesn't shirk away. He's bold to the point of recklessness at times, and that trait will be present when he's older too. It's what also leads him to claim Vhagar, which if things had gone badly there, well, it might have been the last we saw of him. But his stubbornness pays off, and in what I felt was one of the best scenes in Season 1, he becomes the rider of Vhagar. This was also an important moment for the future development of Aemond. With the wrong actor in this role, it could have all come across as ridiculous, and perhaps even undercut the character a bit in the future. But Leo Ashton is convincing. He displays a persistence bordering on desperation. It's akin almost to Daemon's actions in the Stepstones when he put his life on the line to get the crab feeder. Both see failure as a greater evil than the peril that they're putting themselves into. Ashton also does a fine job displaying the new confidence his character achieves after claiming Vhagar. This resolve leads him to arrogance, and also to losing an eye. And still he's not deterred. He even says, "I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon." And that's why I feel like this was the most cohesive shift from the younger to older versions of any of the characters. That same cockiness he displays as a child when confronting his nephews after claiming Vhagar is still present now that he's older, but with a bit more maturity and wit.
Jace. Luke. And Joffrey. Each of them handsome, wise, strong.
Ewan Mitchell does a fine job of displaying the intensity of Aemond. It feels as if he's a coiled snake that could strike at any moment, and this heightens the tension we see when he confronts Lucerys at Storm's End. Aemond was an austere and serious child, and he's the same as an adult. He keeps pushing himself, and is the opposite of his self-indulgent brother, Aegon. There's one key difference from what was written in Fire and Blood and how it was portrayed in Season 1, and that's the death of Lucerys and Aerax. I know that this has been a point of contention for some people who preferred the book version, but for me, I thought it added even more depth to Aemond's character. On the show, of course, we see Aemond trying to stop Vhagar from pursuing Lucerys. Aemond had only intended on harassing and scaring him. Of course, ultimately, he's still responsible because you don't take a battle-tested dragon like Vhagar into a pursuit like that and quickly put the brakes on her, particularly after Aerax aimed a stream of fire at her eyes. In the book, though, it's a much more sinister account. From Fire and Blood, George writes, "It was bad weather for flying, even for a dragon, and Aerax was struggling to stay aloft when Prince Aemond mounted Vhagar and went after him. Had the skies been calm, Prince Lucerys might have been able to outfly his pursuer, for Aerax was younger and swifter. But the day was as black as Prince Aemond's heart." Of course, Fire and Blood is an account told by the Maesters, and they were not the biggest fans of the Targaryens. So I really like the direction that Ryan Condal took here. Having Aemond as a stereotypical villain isn't as compelling as making his character more gray. And that's why what happens with him next is one of the more fascinating aspects of Season 2. We know Aemond has regret for killing Lucerys, but will he show it to anyone, or act as if he had intended to do it all along? If he does confide in someone, I think it might be Helena, but we'll see. The reaction of the rest of the family is interesting too. Aegon is ruled by his passions, so I think he'll celebrate it. Alicent will likely be upset, not just because he's brought about a war she was trying to avoid by offering terms to Rhaenyra, but Aemond is the one child she could count on. She doesn't connect with Helena, and she recognizes that Aegon is a degenerate. It was Aemond who she tasked with finding Aegon too when he went into hiding. Will she now be disappointed with the one person she believed she could rely on? Also, it's possible that some of the same attitude he displayed after claiming Vhagar could now become even more prominent in his behavior. After all, blood has been spilled, and there's nothing else he can really do about it but own it. And he also has a strong belief that he's the one who should be king.
Here I am, trawling the city, ever the good soldier in search of a wastrel who's never taken half an interest in his birthright. It is I, the younger brother, who studies history and philosophy. It is I who trains with the sword, who rides the largest dragon in the world. It is I who should be...
This confidence does have some truth behind it. Not only is he the most able, but the Greens would be on the road to certain defeat if he hadn't claimed Vhagar. In fact, they might not have even made a play for the throne. With such a wide array of power and dragons behind Rhaenyra, they would have had to resort to more nefarious tactics, like what happened with Joffrey. Alice Rivers, a new character in Season 2, will also feature prominently in Aemond's story as we move forward. It's going to be an interesting ride, not just with what Aemond does, but seeing what his core motivations will be. There are certain events that are set to occur that I believe will also further inflame his resentment and anger. And I can't wait to see it all play out, because we're fortunate to have someone as talented as Ewan Mitchell filling the role. I'll be doing additional spotlight videos as we look to bridge the long gap between seasons. It's still at least a year now until we see the Season 2 premiere. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and if you're interested in more House of the Dragon, listen to Caraxes and subscribe. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon.